So hi everyone and welcome to the second panel discussion for the OER Rangers and also the second event in the Open Education Week here at eCampusOntario. We have a lot of events going on, including one that starts at 1 p.m. today, so right after this session here. And I'm just going to post the link down here in the chat so you can see what sessions we have. And if you're interested, you can go and register there. Once again, I just want to remind everyone that we have live translation. So if you prefer to listen to this in French, you can go and at the bottom, click on the globe and choose French. And so again, thank you and welcome to attend our session here. And we're going to have it's actually more of a lightning round that's going to happen because we have three amazing people here to discuss their experience with OER Rangers, the OER in general, and collaboration. And we have only 30 minutes. I wanted to have even more people if possible, but it wouldn't be practical. And we will have like 30 seconds for each person to talk. But everyone in the program was so amazing. And here is just like a sample of the most amazing people that we have in this program. And first, the acknowledgements. The offices of eCampus Ontario, located in downtown Toronto, are within the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples. So in terms of presentation, that was all. And as some of you know, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the OER Rangers program, and many of you here have participated or heard about it, but I wanted to give you a summary as well. So the OER Rangers program started in September 2023, and it's run by Campus Ontario Open Library. And we had an amazing amount of people. We had more than 200 people applying from 49 different institutions in Ontario. And we have 80 participants from 47 colleges, universities, and Indigenous institutes going on right now. And they are they first underwent training that was created with the help with many other professionals in colleges and universities in Ontario. And here is the link to it. This is the Mastering Open Ed press books. And this is a guide to OER that was created by eCampus with the help with these amazing subject matter experts. And there we have a version to it in English and in French. And the Rangers also deliver sessions to their colleagues about OER, advocated for policy changes, created new OERs, and basically became a champion to OER inside their institutions, the person that people look up to when they think about OERs. And one thing that I wanted to mention before we start is that the Open Library has a survey out now so that you can talk about what works well for you in the Open Library services and all the sessions that we offer. If you have any other ideas of what we can do best, I'm going to post here in the chat so that you can go there. And if you are one of the first 100 people, you're going to receive a $25 gift card for that. So try and go as fast as you can after the session, of course. But yeah, today I'm joined here by three of the Rangers. And first we have Rebecca Sweetman from Queen's University. We also have Jessica Joy from Cambridge, and last but definitely not least, the great Michael Carter from St. Lawrence College. Thank you so much for you to come here today. And before I zip it and I started asking questions, as I mentioned before, I just wanted to, sorry, I just wanted you to know that you can ask questions at any time. And we're going to try and reply to them before the end of this session. So without further ado, let me just give you the questions here. Sorry about that. It was just I lost it in the middle of all my monitors here. So we're going to start with Rebecca, then we're going to go to Michael and then Jessica. And we're going to start with this question. So briefly introduce yourself, then tell us about your journey as an OER Ranger and how collaboration factor into your experience in the program. How were the two of them connected to you?
Thanks, Leo. And that was quite the introduction. I feel like you oversold us. So you're supposed to underpromise and overdeliver, right? Well, yes, we had an exceptional cohort, I think, in this group. And so I feel very honored to be amongst them. I'm Rebecca Sweetman. I'm speaking to you today from the unceded territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe in Prince Edward County, Ontario. I'm Associate Director of Educational Technologies for the Faculty of Arts and Science at Queen's University. And I wanted to join the OER program because I'm very passionate about open education, but also out of a curiosity about what supports are being provided to educators across the province in terms of developing capacity for open education. And I was very happy to learn that one of my colleagues, who I think is on the call also, from Queen's, had also been included as one of the OER Rangers in the program. And I was very hopeful about our collaboration and ability to mobilize across our very disparate silos and portfolios at Queen's. In practice, this was effective, I would say, in servicing both the opportunities and the challenges for effective cooperation at a large institution for higher education. So my colleague, who was also part of this program, was situated at the library. And from my understanding, their portfolio is dedicated, directly centered on open education, where mine is faculty-based and focuses on educational technologies. And although we might be in the same spaces or committees at our institution, our portfolios very rarely intersect. And this is part of the problem of a large siloed institution without effective communication or shared goals or a centrally driven initiative in this regard. The left hand often doesn't know what the right is doing, and vice versa. So this colleague was not particularly familiar with the technologies favored for the production of open educational resources. And given my portfolio, centered on EdTech, which is based in the largest faculty of our institution. I'm very used to providing extensive support in the design, production, and the distribution of OERs, but often have no idea what the library is doing in terms of resourcing or sharing or providing even like funding initiatives necessarily for the creation of those. So this program, I would say, provided us a very good reason to finally get our communication ducks in a row and share with each other what is happening in our respective domains for OERs on campus and to think together about what change needs to happen to get more traction and awareness for OER production, sharing, and collaboration.
Thanks, Rebecca. Michael?
Wow, that's a tough act to follow. That was amazing, Rebecca. I'm going to be a little more shoot from the hip, as Andre Leger would say. My OER Ranger journey, I think, started maybe a year and a half ago. I transitioned from studies at Queen's to faculty at the college. And I somehow heard about the opportunity to do peer review for OERs. And at that time, I wasn't sure about what scholarly life would look like transitioning from the university system to the college system. And the peer review spoke to me as something that I could get to participate in. And that's kind of how I entered the eCampus funnel, I guess you could call it. And I took a few micro-credentials, and I saw the value of the OER resources. And then I saw this OER Ranger program that was offered. And I thought, wow, that looks really incredible. I don't know if I could be invited to participate in that, but I'm a guy that likes to try. So I put my name in the hat. And as it turned out, especially because you know, at the time it was just one name was going to come out of the hat per institution, but I think we had a few institutions that had two names come out. And luckily for me, Julie Fawcett's name also came out here at SLC, who is a part-time faculty in marketing, which was a great help for us in terms of, you know, spreading the word and getting people excited to have her skill and talent. She's gone on, in fact, to just wrap up, I think, creating an OER. So she's definitely a champion, and I feel really blessed and really fortunate that she was my partner. We collaborated on our presentation in the fall, which went exceedingly well. And you know, while being in the Rangers program, I've taken a few more micro-credentials. I just got off a call wrapping up the online learning fundamentals with Simon, which was a fantastic course. A bit like drinking from a fire hose, but I enjoyed the challenge. And so, yeah, you know, in terms of, you know, I guess that's my story. You know, I'm really excited to be able to collaborate with other great minds on OERs, and I'm just really grateful for this opportunity.
Thanks, great, Michael. Yeah, all great points. Let me also introduce now again Jessica Joy from Cambrian College. The question for you is to briefly introduce yourself, then tell us about your journey as an OER Ranger and how collaboration factored into your experience in the program. How were the two of them connected to you?
Thanks, Leo. My apologies again for coming in a bit late. So if I think about where my journey started, it was from nowhere because I really had very limited exposure, I'd say, to OER. Heard it around the institution a little bit. We did have a few champions when I first came on as a faculty, but they've since moved on. So we didn't really have a leader or someone championing this for us. So very limited exposure. And to be honest, in my discipline, so business analysis technology program, I found there weren't many resources, and I thought, well, there kind of should be. So that's where my interest kind of came from. And my objectives were just to understand what this world is all about. What are we missing out on? And my eyes were opened, so to speak, through the program. Just understanding where to find everything and how everything's connected, and all this entire network of resources and people that are connected to OER. You know, so very valuable experience just going through and understanding all the different elements that are involved here, and discovering OER. I've read so much now just going through the program that it's amazing, and I've passed on a lot of really cool resources now. So I'm really hoping that I'm starting to get the word going around our institution a little bit more, which I think I've accomplished. I'll maybe speak to that a bit later. But word is definitely spreading, and I'm really hoping to keep up that momentum. And in terms of collaboration, I'm sure it's been mentioned already. I was fortunate enough to have another OER Ranger at my institution as well. So collaboration for me meant us working together and collaborating. So we for session one, we did that very collaboratively. We developed the session, we delivered the session together. And then for session two, we coordinated. So we're working on different things, but we coordinated our efforts to have the largest impact at our institution. So that's how collaboration ties in for me.
That's great. Thank you so much for all your answers. And yeah, it's very inspiring how we're getting people together to collaborate and create new things, or just for raising more awareness to OER. And that leads us to our second question, which is, in your experience, what strategies or practices have you found most effective in engaging your community or institution in OER or open education in general? We're going to start with Michael now, then Jessica and Rebecca.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, so I have a few different strategies. One is that I engage in outreach within my institution, and I look for the different sort of centers across the institution. Obviously, the library being one of those main centers. So meeting with the librarians and the support staff there and in other centers across my institution is important. I think offering to provide guest lectures is another way to do that. So I've done that to sort of act as a kind of ambassador, I guess you could say. Something that I think is important as well is to listen to people across the institution and find out what their pain points are that OERs could solve, right? It's so much easier to get people to listen and be interested if I'm coming with a solution that fits with a problem that they actually have. And of course, LinkedIn posting. That's kind of one of the things that I'm known for at my institution, is a way that I share a lot of information. And so engaging my community and sort of really putting myself out there through that platform has done wonders.
Thanks, Michael. I was going to ask, are you in LinkedIn? Oh, sorry, just kidding. Because yeah, Michael is already always posting so many interesting things. It's so difficult to follow up. Now you have that AI series as well that I've been going through, but I wasn't able to go through everything because they're very interesting. I want to dig into them as well.
Yes, I'm a shameless LinkedIn maxi. You'll see in the chat that I've got my link in there. So I just love meeting people. So feel free to reach out. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Michael. Now, Jessica.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to echo a little bit of what Michael said. So in terms of strategies, for me, I would bring up cross-functional strategies. So working with the Library and Learning Commons, as well as our Teaching and Learning Center, and bridging those two together, which coincidentally now fall under the same portfolio, which is fantastic. And my OER, the other OER Ranger is in the library. So we're kind of on two sides, which is going to work really well. But reaching out to those centers and bringing them in, helping to promote, say, our sessions that we were delivering. And I've been asked to, maybe Michael, this is along those lines too, I've been asked to come and speak about it a little bit more to some of our new full-time faculty. So integrating that as part of the orientation for full-time faculty, which I thought was amazing. And tying that into AI as well, because I lead the AI community of practice at Cambrian too. So how is AI going to impact OER and having those conversations? So just having that cross-functional approach and reaching out these different areas and bringing them in would be one strategy. And the other is multimodal ways to engage. So we deliver live sessions, but we're also building into our LMS, which is Moodle, kind of the open ed content that we've gone through, right? So there wasn't a cartridge available for Moodle, so I'm building the course in Moodle for us using that content. So it'll be available for new faculty or whoever wants to see it, whoever wants to run a workshop about it. All of that will be available for us internally in our LMS.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's amazing, Jessica. Thank you. Now, Rebecca.
Sure, and I can kind of build upon what you said, Jessica, too, so that's great. My approach was to target educational support professionals at Queen's. A lot of us are based in different faculties, and then there are some central supports also that work directly with faculty. And so it seemed to me like that was a good place to start with capacity building, almost in a train the trainers kind of model. We use Teams as a great tool for chatting and kind of keeping the conversation going. And then I built out an open enrollment course in our LMS. So Jessica, kind of along the lines of what you said, and I adapted the common cartridge for our LMS, which was D2L Brightspace. And then I also built out different sections so they would be relevant to Queen's specific ed tech environment. So for example, we have an institutional license for H5P. So there are some different ways that we might be able to help get people access to different licenses. They might be able to use it within the LMS differently, or if they're thinking of creating OERs, they might just look at using the tools slightly differently. So we provided that additional context there in the open enrollment course. We're also using that as a way to distribute, for example, like sessions like this, so webinars, both shared by like the tool platforms and then eCampus, or even events on campus. We're just posting it there because it's a, faculty and educational support professionals that are interested in open ed. So they can kind of, through even the course announcements of that open enrollment course, kind of receive updates on an ongoing basis. I would say one of the challenges that kind of comes down to a technical nitty-gritty is looking to broaden the access for that. Our LMS, you have to be like a net ID user from our institution. And so I'm kind of wondering if we almost need a parallel open LMS to be able to do this kind of work more effectively. And so that's a conversation we're having at the institution.
That's great. Thank you for all your efforts. And I wanted to mention that the Mastering Open Eds are going to have a new updated version, probably by the end of the month, with common cartridges that will be available for Brightspace, Moodle, and some other LMSs. So that will be easier for people to just import into their LMSs and start helping people with OER as well. So that brings us to our last question. We don't have a lot of time, so I'll ask you to be as brief as possible. So looking forward, based on your experience in the OER Rangers program, what advice would you give on building effective collaborations for OER projects? How do you see these collaborations evolving to further enhance community engagement and development of OER? We're going to start with Jessica, Rebecca, then Michael.
Sorry, didn't expect to be first. Okay. My first, I guess, piece of advice would be don't stop with one ranger. Having two was great. Having more will be better. And I think that's what we're trying to do right at this point in our institution, is just build those champions out and then start to provide that kind of support and push the word out, right? So I think having a community of rangers, I guess, is one I think would be an excellent way to ensure collaboration. The second piece I would say is to find those within our institution that have developed OER and have them share their experiences, because I didn't realize that there were a few at our institution that have published OER, and I didn't know. And I've been there 5 years and I had no idea. So those experiences need to be shared. And I think those will build collaborations on their own. I would reach out to someone who's published something and say, hey, I have this great idea. What do I do? And there comes a collaboration right out of that. So I think those two pieces of advice I would start with. And that's what we intend to do, I think, at Cambrian. And in terms of how I see those evolving in the future, for us, my hope is to establish some continuity in OER. So as I said, we've had OER champions in the past, they moved on. There's a lack of continuity for us. So I'm hoping to, if we build this community out a little bit more, that continuity remains regardless of who comes and goes. And, I don't know if we're at the point of a community of practice, but that might be something that we can build towards, at least within our institution, and hopefully that can be a model for those who are at the same stage we are.
Fantastic. Rebecca?
Thanks. So I think part of it is the amount of time it takes at even within your own institution to figure out the landscape of OER. So somehow building that time into the process is really important. And then finding initiatives like this that force us to collaborate are most welcome. So I would say raising the awareness about initiatives like this that would do that, I think would be fantastic. I would say there are so many amazing resources that are created and may already be created, but they don't get the uptake they deserve because sometimes we're missing effective search tools to find what already exists. So I think there's a lot of work that could be done on this front to keep developing OERs in a way that helps build on rather than replicate all the incredible labor that came before us. So further enhancing search tools and common places to look for OERs. And then it would be great to share replicable models from other institutions of how this work is kind of playing out. I think we face a lot of the same challenges, even there might be some, unique challenges amongst each individual institution, but I think we have more in common than is unique. So I think sharing effective models would be fantastic.
Great, thank you. And now, Michael.
Thank you, Leo. I know we're out of time, so I'll speak quickly. My strategy is to get in touch with communities of practice, because communities of practice are filled with people that have energy and enthusiasm and interest, and they're organized, and they can work as a team to share their knowledge and wisdom through an OER, because everybody's busy. Building something like this can feel incredibly daunting and demanding in terms of time. So I like to work with vectors that are already pushing in a certain direction and just sort of say, let's tack this on. How could we share your excitement, your enthusiasm, your expertise with others? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jessica. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention before we finish. Two things that you mentioned about the communication within the institution. There is something that I see that we have to improve, and I've seen within the program, I've seen some changes because we would often see people from institutions that had a very developed OER system, and other people would come to us and say, well, I want to do something about OER, but I don't know where to go, when they had this other department inside their own institution. So this is something that we'll probably have to work on. And also the idea of having two people in the OER Rangers as well, I think helped so much with Nasser and Julie and Jeff as well in your respective institutions. And this is a way that we make it broader and we get more people within it. And hopefully we'll have OER champions that will be available for a longer period, as Jessica just mentioned now. And again, thank you so much. You just made my job so easy, and it was a delight to work with all of you. And thank you everyone for coming here. We do have a few other events going on. We have one starting right now, so you can go to Open Education Week events and register there if you want to. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.